We come to our final album, which is Something Soft by Male. This was selected by our guest picker, Adam Reeve. Adam co-runs the excellent Dead Good Music blog, and you can follow his work on Instagram through the handle @deadgoodmusic_. So I'm going to kick things off here. Male, that's on the assumption that neither of you two knew too much about Male before, in which case, no. Okay, we're all kind of going in blind to the Male experience. This is their second album. Dublin band, post-punk. And yeah, it's got to leave its mark. It's initially not much fun. I got much I got from this album, despite a runtime of 29 minutes. I was put in mind of Kylie was sometimes sort of saying, that's a long 29 minutes or something like that.
29 minutes.
And that was my initial thoughts. But over the past week, I've been playing it more, and this very spare approach to post punk and kind of intentionally kind of guttural outputs, which they come up with. It reminded me a little bit of Goat Girl, the album we reviewed last year, where they've tried to use a different approach with less kind of pleasing instrumentation, and trying to find what we can do with it. And over time, there's some songs which I've grown to really like here. I think let's focus on one of the strong notes here, which is some of the lyricism, or at least the inspiration behind some of the songs. And one of the better songs is the opener, Pursuit, which is essentially a female perspective of trying to wear shoes which will help when walking on the street because of this paranoia about potentially being followed by a man, and not an unfounded paranoia or kind of unfortunately rare experience. So you get that in that song, with this kind of 2 or 3 notes on the guitar just carrying it along, and then it just builds into this crescendo, which kind of sums up the kind of mental state which I think that song is built in. You've got You Are Temporary, but the Internet Is Forever, which is kind of concerning how you might have a different online persona to where you are in real life as well. I kind of found some of the lyrics in that quite humorous, still look great on the internet, and apparently finding out that you've died by looking on the internet and questioning whether you're a ghost now. So yeah, there's this kind of wacky approach there, and just if you're going to listen to one, maybe try 1-800 Call Me Back, which as far as I'm aware is the only song which is paired kind of old Nokia phone notes as the basis for a tune in a song. And it kind of makes me laugh, but it's also catchy in its own way. And yeah, I've got here that it could, you could mosh to this kind of old phone sound. So there's a bit of nostalgia, swirling around there as well, for a song which is essentially about being ghosted. But yeah, so I enjoyed some of the humor on here, even though there's a lot of serious kind of themes throughout the album. But I've focused on the songs I enjoyed. Sorry, one more, Snare, which has quite an enjoyable drum beat. And actually, the story behind that's quite a good one, and sums up the fury behind a lot of this on the album, of the singer basically being told that she can't play the drums because that's a male instrument, basically. So she sort of puts that fury into this song, and the rustic percussion on this song as well is a highlight. But I've gone through the highlights. I mean, the rest of it is a stretch. It's not a comfortable listen. It's quite jarring. I'm all for kind of scuzzier arrangements, things which can be a bit more challenging, but I did find probably the rest of the album just a step too far. And then there are some moments which you know, I found borderline unlistenable. So yeah, I think that some good ideas, some good arrangements, but nothing really beyond a good EP from this set of songs is what I could glean from it. So yeah, I went with Carl last time, so I go Kylie for your thoughts next here.
Well, you'll be to Carl soon, because I didn't enjoy this record at all. We've covered at length the idea of post punk in 2025 is not really my thing, and I guess I kept on going back to not necessarily musically, but this reminded me a lot of the Lambrini Girls record that we reviewed earlier in the year. That Male just thinks they're cheekier than they really are, and I guess I'm just not in on the joke. Um, for example, you've got a song called Vin Diesel, but there's no mention of Vin Diesel or family, and it's not as fun as the Fast and the Furious movies. So I'm out on that. I'm surprised that this came out on Merge Records, who are just one of the legendary indie labels that put out nothing but bangers. And when I was listening to this and looked at the label, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" So anyway, yeah, I did not enjoy this record at all. It's noisy, it's not fun, and just a little snotty around the edges for my taste.
How about you, Carl? Any glimmer of hope in this review?
Yeah, I mean, let me start by saying Something Soft is a hugely misleading title, which obviously by design. There's not much soft about this record. You kind of mentioned it. The guitars are harsh. They're abrasive. They're just big walls of distorted static that, for the most part, are just not fun to listen to. I mean, I think it starts out okay. Pursue and I Miss My Dog are easily like the high points here for me. Quite like how those songs build and escalate, and you can hear like an element of cohesion and some interesting guitar grooves in amongst all like the cacophonous noise kind of around that. But then, yeah, I mean, after that, the album sadly it just becomes irritating, repetitive, and the biggest crime for me is it just sounds hugely uninspired. Um, You Are Temporary, you get this, that I Didn't Know I Died refrain, which you mentioned, Andrew, which, it's over some distorted bass line that is, the best way to describe it is like someone just poking you in the ears, like the entire time. DMAM is, the worst offender for me. It's just really shit, superficial lyrics delivered in like an annoying voice with, irritating static and distortion. And then, E8 and 16, the one good thing I can say about that track is that it's less than 2 minutes long. But on the downside, it's 1 minute 50, which is 1 minute 50 too much. So the song is, it's just listing out some boys' names over more like horrid guitars that it just sounds like someone loudly farting over a car alarm is what I wrote down for that song. It's just, yeah.
Nobody beats TikTok post punk. That's
Yeah.
that's what this is. TikTok post punk. Who cares?
That's it. And then, yeah, Vin Diesel, we get, more vocals where it sounds like they just can't be bothered. Clementine, yeah, just more half-baked noise and painful yelling. Snare, you mentioned, Andrew, starts out promising. Obviously, it's got a good message behind it. Yeah, I mean, it's got, a decent bass line, some tight drums, but then it just descends into the same, like, inaudible screech in, like, the final minute. And, you mentioned 1-800 Call Me Back. Honestly, if I wanted to listen to that I would literally just ring an invalid number. I don't need a song that basically just adds some. It's basically just that, but they add some really kind of half-baked guitars over the top of it, and yeah, and then they wrap it up with that coda, which sounds like a demonic possession happening, but I actually think, being possessed by a demon and going through that is probably more enjoyable. So I feel, yeah, it's one of those, like, if you like this album, all the power to you. But for me, it was literally a chore. It was pretty much the antithesis of the Mesa Mones record, where it was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, you guys know I appreciate, it's punk music. It's not meant to be nice or pretty, but I still expect, to just see like the effort and the artistic vision in the record, even if it's not for me. And for me, it just fit. Like everything here just feels really lazy and like a pale imitation of other artists right now. If I wanted something in this vein, I'd go listen to Man of Quinn Pussy, their record from last year, or even something like the Horrors debut album from 20 years ago, like that first album. There was moments that reminded me of that. There's also another Irish band who I can't recall their name at the moment, but they also do really interesting things sonically, where they play guitars with violin strings, and that's a bit kind of like punky in the way that they kind of put their arrangements together. I can't remember the name of that band.
Just Mustard, no?
Just Mustard, yeah, that's exactly the one. So yeah, I mean, for all the good music coming out of Ireland right now, this is the dirty underbelly for me. Just like, yeah, uninspired and yeah, unenjoyable.
I think that's a no. But yeah, so yes.
Yeah, I could have summed it up a bit shorter, but I wanted to do it justice.
It's you just joined us for 606.
You put more effort into that review than they did the record.